What is going on, everyone? Griffin here, coming at you with some VI gameplay, and today we're going to be talking about the weapon changes that came in the 3.5 Bounce House update. So let's head over, let's talk about it. So, as I mentioned before, in order to access the patch notes for Rogue Company moving forward, we are going to have to go over to the Rogue Company Steam page. For whatever reason, they are putting the patch notes on the Steam page. So whenever you go to the Steam page for Rogue Company, you scroll down here to the Bounce House update. It's under the Recent Events and Announcement tab here, and you click on it and it will bring up the patch notes. So for the weapon changes, the D40C, the fire rate on it was buffed just a little bit from 600 RPM up to 670. The tier base accuracy went from 0.7 to 0.9. So for a weapon to be perfectly accurate every time you fire it, the accuracy needs to be a 1.0. So they are effectively turning the tier into a 90% hip fire connection weapon. So there's a 90% chance whenever you fire the tier that you are going to hit someone with the hip fire. In the write-up here, they said under 15 meters, players should expect to be able to land hip fire shots. Above 15 meters, it should be rare to hit one. In my testing and experience, that is not the case whatsoever. Anything within 20 to 25 meters, if you hip fire it, you have about a 50-50 shot. The closer you are, of course, the higher that percentage chance goes up. So anything within 25 meters, you have a really good shot at hitting a body shot or a random headshot. So for the Devotion, the headshot damage was increased from 80 to 86, and the body shot damage was increased from 47 up to 49. This effectively brought the Devotion to a one-tap with Fixer whenever he has his ult active. And any rogues that have access to Legendary Crack Shot, if you hit a headshot, it does 99 damage at every single range in the game. At 100 meters, you're doing 99 damage. It's insane. So for the S12, the initial fall-off range, so the 8 meters to 15 meter fall-off range, the base damage was increased from 0.7 up to 0.8. So basically, they're increasing the percentage. It's going from 70% total damage up to 80% total damage of the weapon at that 8 to 15 meter mark. For the Knight, the initial fall-off range distance was changed from 8 to 17 meters up to 12 to 17 meters. So effectively, it's getting a 4 meter buff to the actual range of it. And they also adjusted the fall-off damage at that first fall-off. So instead of doing 90% of total damage at that 12 to 17 meter range, you're going to be doing 75% of damage at that 12 to 17 meter range. And then with the Hydra, the fire rate was reduced from 300 RPM down to 273 RPM. So let's go through these one at a time. The D40 buff was actually warranted and needed. I still feel like that they nerfed the D40 in the wrong way. I think they need to revert the fire rate, adjust the fall off ranges, adjust the fall off percentages, and make that the actual weapon that it should be. I was looking at some footage that Gummy Bear put up on the on Twitter about the clip thing that she's doing, and there was an old clip in there of Sigrid. This was like right when Sigrid was released, running around with a D40, and it was doing like 13 body shot damage at like 5 meters. Now I think it does 16 body shot at 5 meters. So they've tweaked the D40 so much and buffed it and reworked it so much. If they reverted it back to the way that it was like way back in the day, I think that it would be okay. I still think that the ranges need to be adjusted on the weapon and those fall off percentages, and we'll get into that more with the Knight, but I think that that's what needs to happen with the weapon. Whenever you have a weapon that fires at a very specific fire rate for 3 years, and then all of a sudden you change that fire rate of that weapon, it just doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel the same, especially if you're running every single weapon in the game as opposed to only the D40C. It's going to take you a lot longer to get used to that fire rate change, and it's taken me a very long time to get used to it, and now they're changing it again. So it's kind of a weird thing. They need to revert the fire rate, but they also need to adjust the damage and the fall offs of the weapon. For the tier, the base accuracy being increased to 90% hip fire, that doesn't feel good. Like, you have a pistol for a reason. Why are we like making this 90%? I think that like all sniper rifles in the game across the board We've only got 2. I think that they need to have their base accuracy while hip firing 35%, 40% max. I think 25% would be most optimal there, but I think 40% max hip fire accuracy there. It's a sniper rifle, okay? If I got the developers over at Evil Mojo and carried them to a field out here at my grandfather's house and gave them a high-powered sniper rifle and said, you're not going to aim this, you're just going to pull the trigger and see where it lands, and you get 10 shots, however many shots you actually hit this target is what you adjust the tier by, 0%. 0% hip fire accuracy. Let's be realistic about it. We don't need a... The tier was already bad enough with a 70% accuracy rate for the hip fire. We don't need it to be 90%. It's not a good change, and I don't like it whatsoever. For the devotion, them buffing the headshot and body shot damage of the weapon is just unnecessary. I mean, whenever we had this issue in the past with Fixer one-tapping people with the devotion, that was changed, and there was a very, very good reason why that was changed, and it all stemmed from the fact that speed and toughness was removed, and it was very powerful. People that excel with the devotion in higher levels of play, and since the matchmaking is just kind of a blender of whoever's available, you're going to get those higher tier players with some of those lower tier players, and it's going to feel bad, and it's going to feel very unfair to those players that are just hopping in the game for the first time, or not particularly well versed at the game, anything like that. It's going to feel bad for those players. So it's very frustrating to play around. It's going to continue to be very frustrating to play around. And this is something that never should have happened. They should have left the devotion where it was, or remove Fixer's increased damage that he has whenever he ults, and remove crack shot. Like, leave the devotion at this current damage that you changed it to. Get rid of crack shot completely and get rid of Fixer's damage buff in his ult. That would fix everything, and it would be fine. It would be perfectly fine in that spot right there. But one of the others got to give. Either revert the damage or adjust those two things. For the S12 Tactical, I don't think that increasing the base damage of it at that first fall off was the right answer for the S12. And here's why. You can 2-tap someone at 20 meters with the S12 Tactical now. If you get a headshot with the S12, you're doing 60 damage. If you get a body shot, you're doing like 55 damage or something like that, something ridiculous. So what they should have done, in my opinion, if it was struggling, it says the weapon can't hit as hard or fire as fast as some of its peers, so they're going to buff it in that mid-range. Adjust the range values. You did it with a knight, so make the damage fall-offs kick in instead of at 8 meters at 10 meters. I know that you're floating more towards SKL territory with this particular weapon, but that's actually adjusting the weapon in a very easy to understand and also a very unbroken way. Being able to 2-tap someone with a headshot at 20 meters with the S12 Tactical is very rough, right? So if you're going to be, making adjustments to it, then just extend that range by 2 meters, and then extend that second fall off range from 15 up to 17, and make it exist somewhere in that SMG territory where it should excel at. It should be the SMG kind of counterplay there, depending on how you're playing the match and everything. So I think that they should revert that base damage. I think that they should extend that first fall off, like where that first fall off hits at 10 meters, and then that first fall off should hit again at 17 meters as opposed to 15 meters. I think if you made that adjustment, then it would feel really, really good. I mean, the SKL has crazy range. The Arbitrator doesn't really have crazy range, and the Striker doesn't really have crazy range. The S12 should sit somewhere in that middle ground. That's how you kind of do that. That's how you fix that. So for the Knight, half of these changes are absolutely incredible. I've made videos about this, and I've actually talked to the developers about this. The SMGs across the board should not be doing 90% of total damage at that first fall off threshold. It should be doing 75% of total damage. And whenever you look at the numbers on paper, 75% of total damage is basically increasing the amount of damage that needs to be dealt to down someone by 1 bullet at that first fall off. You're not changing the base of it. You're changing that first fall off to be 75% of total damage. So if they made that change and they adjusted the actual ranges of the weapon, then I think that it would feel 10 times better. If they reverted the Knight back from 12 meters to 8 meters and kept the 75% damage, the knight would be perfectly buffed all across the board. Now, there are some outliers within that kind of factor into it. Umbra running Legendary Gunsmith buffs the fall off ranges to such an extent that it makes it almost completely unfair while running something like the knight or any of the other weapons. So with Umbra, if he runs the knight at the new range, 12 to 17 meters, and he buys a Legendary Gunsmith, he's increasing his range with the knight to 16 meters. So it's doing full damage, body and headshot, at 16 meters. So basically, he's going to be doing full damage, you know, at up to 16 meters. And then 16 to, let's see. So 16 to 21 meters is going to be that first fall off. And then it's going to progress from there. That breaks the game. I've been saying Gunsmith breaks the game for a very long time. And this is like a real example of how it breaks the game. Them extending the range of that first fall off for this weapon, coupled with Gunsmith, regardless of what rarity it is, makes that fall into assault rifle almost DMR territory. That's why the SMGs feel bad. That's why Gunsmith needs to be removed from the game, needs to be reworked, and then brought back into the game. Knight changes aren't bad. The Knight is still the superior SMG in my opinion, which I'm a Knight fan. I've always enjoyed running the Knight since they introduced it with Kestrel. I think it's a fantastic SMG. I like the slower fire rate but heavier damage. I just love the way that you kind of play around it and work around it. It's my type of weapon. I know a lot of people out there don't like it, and that's perfectly fine, but that it fits my play style very, very well. Half of these changes are good with the Knight. The 75% damage at that first fall off is incredible. Extending the range of the weapon feels terrible because you're making it better. You're actually buffing the weapon. And I'll probably do a full video about the Knight in the future, but that's my current thoughts on the Knight. So for the Hydra, they reduced the fire rate. They said that it is by far the dominant assault rifle in the game. I don't know where they're pulling this data because I hardly ever run into anybody using the Hydra. But what they're doing is they're low-key buffing this weapon as well. So yes, the fire rate is being dropped down by, 25 or 28, whatever it is. And it is making a very powerful weapon fire a lot slower. So whenever you are in those SMG, shotgun, even DMR territories, you're still getting burnt down. You have to consistently hit your headshots with the Hydra, but it's making the Hydra more accurate. So if you're able to run the Hydra, you're aware of what you're running against, and you're able to position yourself correctly, then you will excel at using the Hydra still. You'll still be very, very, very deadly with the Hydra still. It's just that this was unwarranted in my opinion. I don't run into a lot of Hydra users, and the Hydra's bounce, the way that it was before was so bad, and the accuracy of it was so bad that it was almost unusable then. Now with the fire rate decrease, whenever you're going up against anyone, anywhere on the map, you feel like you're getting outclassed by everything. At least that's been my experience of it since this change has happened. Like I said, if you play a little bit more methodical and you bob and weave in and out of cover and take pop shots and get headshots, you can still be successful with it. You can still do great, incredible things with it. But this feels like it was unwarranted, and I don't completely understand where this data is coming from. I mean, if I play the game on a pretty consistent basis and I run into one Hydra a night out of playing 5 to 10 matches, then I don't know, unless it's TDM or something I don't play. It has to be TDM or Strikeout, because I don't hardly ever see them in Demolition or in Quick Play for that matter. So, but be sure to let me know what you think in the comments down below. What change were you most excited about, and what change do you feel like was a little too much, a little too aggressive, and needs to be reined back in a little bit? I would say for me, the best change was the D40 buff. It needed it. It needs to be changed in a different way, but it definitely needed that buff. And the worst change, in my opinion, was definitely the devotion change. They either need to rework the devotion, revert it back, or they need to get rid of crack shot and get rid of Fixer's ult ability and rework his ult ability a little bit. But that's kind of where I'm at with it. Be sure to let me know what you think. Also, be sure to check that description for links to Facebook, Discord, and Twitter. Those are the places to contact me. If you haven't already, please be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. If you've already subscribed to the channel, then consider hitting that join button to become one of the 256 crew members. Lastly, on Thursdays and also on Sundays, I will be streaming here on YouTube. So if you are interested and available, please feel free to stop by and say hello there. Thanks for watching, guys. That's not mid. No. Come on.
Oh, he's putting it. Okay. I'm bombing it. I'm bombing it.
I mean, he's up there not taking any damage.
We're going to die. 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 Okay, we didn't die.
I'm flashed.
Flashed, but... There's somebody behind us. C4. Oh, don't go away.
We traded.
So he's the last one.
Enemies eliminated.
Oh, thank God.
That was a good snipe, dude.
It was.
I watched it.
Okay. Go to A. Plant the bomb on their backside.
On the corner. I'll show you when we get up here.
Okay.
Talon's right here in front of me. Right.
Where? Here? Where to plant the bomb?
Right here. He's right here.
Kill him! Oh, you motherfucker. Nothing. Ah, damn. He's right. Oh my God. Get him. He's hurt.
One time.
Pull it, dude. Oh, I'm coming back. Shouldn't have done it. He's on that corner.
Yeah, don't push it. Don't push it.
Don't,
Just
man.
fucking...
He's coming out. He's out. He's on the steps moving up. You see him. Don't do it. He knows exactly where you're at. Oh, it's the winning game. Dude, that is a great place to plant the bomb.
Yep.
I remember that. I always do it on that little wall so they can't shoot me from the middle, but that spot,
yeah, right.
That's it, dude. Because you can get back there, or you can still see it from anywhere, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's like perfectly where, unless you're on that very back corner, you can't see it. But other than that, you're good.
Because I'm bad about putting it behind cover. And that fucks you. Oh, okay.
Yo, GG's, bro.
GG's, man. What's going on?
Chilling, buddy, chilling. You trying to run or are you gonna get off?
I was playing with some other guys.
Oh, okay, all right, bet, buddy.
Yeah, yeah. What's with all this teabagging, Hawks? Come on now.
My bad, man. That's the shit I do, bro. Nah, GG, bro.
GG, man. GG.
I was trying to get you started, bro. I was trying to get you fired up.
Nah, you good, man.
What the fuck?
Y'all have a good one, guys. It was good playing against you guys.
Yeah, later, brother. Have a good
one.
guys.
See you guys.
Well, fuck them. That's what I say.
Yeah. Why you teabagging? I was trying to get you going. Yeah. I mean,
it worked. You should have said that. Yeah. It worked.